July 12th, 2021, a dark, dark day in the history of our country. The most costly riot in world history, proudly sponsored by the continent's oldest liberation movement, the African National Congress. More than 50 billion rand in damages, more than 150,000 jobs put at risk, proudly sponsored by the ANC. 340 deaths that we know of, proudly sponsored by the ANC. Yeah, you tried to blame the racist Indians. Well, you had to blame someone. Why not the smallest minority? And the media gobbled it up. South African Indians were vilified and crucified on every platform. Our Premier, the Honorable Sihle Zikalala, our police minister, government officials blamed the racial tension in Phoenix. Racial tension? My fucking ass. Where was the racial tension on 11th July? Where was the racial tension on 10th July? Where was the racial tension a week before that? Where was the racial tension a month before that? Where was the racial tension a year before that? Where was the racial tension 10 years before that? Where was the fucking racial tension 160 years before that? Show me the stats that speak of racial tension in the townships of Chatsworth, Phoenix, etc., where South African Indians and Black Indians live side by side on a daily basis. Show me. Or was it an excuse to cover the deep factional division that exists within the ANC that threatens to destroy the very fabric of this country for personal greed and gain? ENCA, EWN, SABC, Radio 2000, etc. A year down the line, hold your fucking heads in shame. You failed to report the news. You played to the public gallery. You played to your masters. Captured, I think the word is. If you have any sense of self-worth, any sense of morality, you will dedicate this unfortunate anniversary to debunk the horrible lie you perpetuated. Go to the townships of Phoenix and Chatsworth and document real social cohesion that exists, the real South Africa at work. Go and document how a so-called racist community wakes up every day ready to lend a helping hand to their immediate neighbors. From soup kitchens to feeding schemes to grocery hampers, clothing and blankets, go out and document how an inherently racist community is the first to respond in the event of a flood or fire in the informal settlement. In the days just after the unrest, many concerned black citizens took to social media lambasting the Indians for killing their brothers and sisters. Yet these same brothers and sisters were living and continue to live in absolute squalor, subhuman conditions. But the keyboard gangsters, Park Dom, looked the other way. Dololo, do nothing to assist their so-called brothers and sisters to help improve their lives, their quality of life. When disaster strikes, they desert their brothers and sisters. On the other hand, the Indian community mobilizes, offering humanitarian aid to all and sundry. They are our brothers and sisters all the time, not only when it suits an agenda. ENCA, EWN, SABC, Newsroom Africa, etc. When more than 30 majority innocent souls were arrested as scapegoats for a gross government failure, did you cover their story and that of their desperate families and children? Did you report that the majority of them were constantly denied their constitutional right to bail? Did you report that they were denied their constitutional right to meals? Did you report that a juvenile was incorrectly incarcerated with adults? Did you report that that same juvenile was raped in custody? And then there's the tragic death of Jitendra Jacobson, died in custody. Of course not, because these people were the killers of black people, right? And the public was baying for their arrest. And why would you upset the majority by highlighting the plight of a few Indians, even if they were innocent. Who would care? Being arrested and charged for a crime does not mean that you are guilty of the crime. Innocent until proven guilty is a constitutional right. But then you already knew that. It's just that the Phoenix accused could not be afforded this right. Well, a year down the line, all have finally received bail. The Judicial Inspectorate of Correctional Services has completed its investigations, which I have been following, by the way. When this report is made public, I hope you have the balls to publish it and have the balls to publish an apology to the Jacobson family and every other innocent soul that was subjected to incarceration to divert from the real crime being played out in plain sight. 12 instigators of the world's costliest riot, 12 instigators that caused the death of over 300 people, still roam free. But your journalist asses are fucking shut. While our Premier Sihle Zikalala and other government officials labeled the 36 deaths in Phoenix a massacre, and he rallied for a monument to be built in memory of the 36 killed, he has never mentioned the 1949 riots. Wikipedia describes it as follows. The Durban riots was an anti-Indian program that took place between 13 to 15 January 1949, primarily by black South Africans targeting South African Indians in Durban. It was the second deadliest massacre during apartheid. That last line for me, the second deadliest massacre. 1949 was a massacre, but it's never spoken about. It's not in our history books. It's not commemorated. The dead, black and Indian, are forgotten. It's as if the incident never took place, erased from our history. And let's not forget the 1985 Inanda riots, when in another black on Indian uprising, more than 1,500 Indian families lost everything as they fled their homes. 3 men were sadly killed. This uprising is also not mentioned or commemorated. So why do I bring this up? Is it to fuel racial tension, to cause division? Of course not. But it's to illustrate 2 very important facts. One is that when non-Indians try to analyze and judge the behavior of the Indian community in the July unrest last year, they must factor these 2 uprisings into the equation. Then an important fact that is ignored by our government and our media is that despite 3 uprisings in our history against the Indian community at large, the Indian community harbors no hate, resentment, or penchant for revenge. We are not a warring nation. If anything, we are a peace-loving community, which according to me is one of the main reasons why social cohesion indeed exists in KZN. But as was demonstrated in the July unrest, if the situation demands it, we are prepared to stand our ground. We will not be rolled over because South Africa is our home. To the ANC, you have all but destroyed our beautiful country. Whether you are an RET, JG supporter or a Cyril Ramaphosa supporter, it's irrelevant. Your thirst for power above the well-being of your people who put their trust in you, their hope in you, their dreams, is the reason we are where we are. I would ask you to examine your conscience, but yeah. To Jacob Zuma, Ubaba, as they fondly call you, when you resigned, you said no life should be lost in your name and the ANC should never be divided in your name. Ubaba, can you help fix the ANC? Mr. Ramaphosa, can you help fix the ANC? And all other leaders of the ANC, former and current, can you help fix the ANC? Because if you help fix the ANC, you will help fix South Africa. To those of us who call South Africa home, let us become active citizens. Let us not allow another July 12th in our lifetime or even that of our kids. Our kids certainly won't survive it. I salute all those black, white, Indian, colored who stood on the front line and defended our democracy. My name is KC Karacharo. I'm out.